let's talk a little Michigan football. We'll do so with the great John U. Bacon.
Oh, John U.
Oh, man, are you telling me? By the way, if you haven't had, if you need a great gift idea, just buy one of John U's books.
Hell yeah.
Give his books away. John U., you there?
I am here.
My goodness. Well, it's something you never know. It could always be sketchy.
Well, he tried VMix 7 times, couldn't do it, and here we are.
Right.
John, you and I, we talked. We all talked maybe about 3-4 weeks ago. I told you I had a premonition. that Tony Petitti was going to have to hand that trophy over as Michigan won the Big Ten championship and went on to win the national championship. This is 25 years later. I'm close on that premonition, J.U.
I do not bet against Braylon Edwards. Bad idea. Since Michigan State way back when, I knew. Bad call. So there you have it. But I got to say that what you really should have bet on, I guess, is how unbelievably gutless he would have been on the big stage. Man, he could have scored so many points very easily by being civil, by doing his job, by taking the microphone, congratulating Michigan and Jim Harbaugh, force a smile, shake the man's hand, whatever it is, and I would have been one of those guys to say, hey, credit where credit's due. The man did his job. He manned up and all that stuff, but he didn't. He squirreled off. So,
hey, John,
that'll be part of his legacy. The man is in over his head.
I was hanging out in the bowels of Lucas Oil Stadium.
Staying in your square?
Right, staying in my square. But I saw Tony Petitti walk down in the area just before the field, just before he comes out in the field, that tunnel area. And he's walking with Archie Griffin, and he looked, and I'm not just saying this,
shocking.
He
Ohio
looked
State.
so uneasy and nervous. If there was a bucket following him around, it feels like sweat would be dripping from his hands. He just looked awkward. I never. It almost felt like he knew he really screwed up and rushed to something. It felt like that anyway, and I was like studying this guy as he was walking back and forth in the tunnel. What do you make of that?
That he's in over his head, but that's a great insight, and I was not there, of course, so your first-hand account behind the scenes is always more helpful than what we see on stage as a rule. Which shows you, look, I'm no great fan of Gary Bettman's, the NHL commissioner, but I give the man his due. He gets up there every single year, gets booed lustily wherever the Stanley Cup is going, and he takes it, and he grins, and he does his job, and he congratulates the winner, and he walks up. That man's been doing that for 25 years. Something like that.
And embraces
and I've been one of the guys booing.
Yeah, no doubt, and embraces it.
Probably likes it now.
Exactly.
Talking to John U. Bacon. John, so Michigan gets this notice of allegations after, 3.5 years, 4 level 2 violations, a level 1 violation against Jim Harbaugh for misleading or what's the word? Lying, essentially. Yeah.
Right.
What does this mean for Jim Harbaugh moving forward? What does this mean for Michigan moving forward? Because they did have the self-imposed 3-game ban earlier this season. What should the average Michigan fan who really doesn't follow this stuff, what should they take from this?
Well, a few things. One, that it's not over. They could have said, look, here's you already paid the price, 3 games. We're done, etc. They're not doing that, obviously, so there might be more games, suspension for Harbaugh. 2, you can probably safely conclude when they send this out on National Signing Day that the NCAA does not like Jim Harbaugh anymore this week than they did last week. So that's he's got no friends there. He's got no friends at the Big Ten. He's got almost no friends in the national media. And these things, shouldn't matter, but I think they do. Again, as I've always said, I think everyone's always said that, I've heard, if Michigan is, guilty of sign gate and so on, whatever the penalty is, you got to pay it. We're talking about the burgers here now, the cheeseburgers, not the sign gate. But whatever, you break the rules, you got to pay the price and so on. There it is. But it's probably not helping his cause that they seem. I can't imagine it's an accident that it lands on National Signing Day. They're being vindictive, I think, on top of everything else. So they should not expect a fair shake. I don't think they'll get, as they say, prosecuted to the full extent of the law. It's not the law, it's the NCAA rules, but still. And NCAA, as it shrinks in size and importance year by year, this is like their, the last battle of Waterloo is what it feels like. Last chance to get somebody. And again, if Michigan screws up, whatever the penalties are, they have to pay them. I'm not saying otherwise. But I think that the pettiness, etc., of the whole thing. And by the way, petiti in Italian means very little. Just telling you. But anyway.
Shout out to Jay, you giving us a little bit of Napoleon Bonaparte battle talk there. I know a little bit.
There you go. Nice drop, Braylon. Nice drop.
You like that? Hey, look, let's cut through the BS. Michigan wins the national championship. All this goes away. Maybe at the most, Jim Harbaugh gets 2 years after signs the extension. Is that what we're looking at, JU?
If they win the national title, probably.
All
Here's
goes
the
away.
weird part. It largely goes away, in part for a rational reason, and then an irrational reason. The rational reason is if they beat Alabama, and Alabama's got Michigan's former linebacker coach, and they beat whoever in the final game, Washington or Texas, you've proven beyond any shadow of a doubt that it was not about the signs. That's not how you did it. That is not the secret sauce. And they've already proven that the last 5 games anyway. But nonetheless, that actually diminishes the impact of the crime, that you've proven that that was not the point of the whole thing. It was still dumb to do, in my opinion, but whatever.
Yeah.
The irrational thing is we all know the NCAA sticks his finger in the air and sees which way the wind is blowing. And when Clemson and Alabama are winning national titles, they are safe from investigation. They don't want to investigate that. They don't want to have to take away a national title. So they almost never, ever do. So UNC basketball and Alabama football and so on, they're clean. So if Michigan wins it, this should not matter, but it will.
Kansas basketball.
They're less like. There you go, Kansas basketball. They're less likely to investigate you after you win the thing. Cleveland State is always in trouble, okay? Because they're not going to win a national title. But if you win a national title, they don't like to go after you.
Hey, John, question for me is you said it. Jim Harbaugh's got no friends. Does he have friends in the NFL? Is he done with college football after this year? Is he going to be putting up with this stuff going forward? I want your opinion on it.
Okay, well, he's got a lot of friends in the coaching ranks and elsewhere like that. There's not in those 3 places I mentioned, NCAA, Big Ten, and national media. I don't know is the short, lame answer. Sorry about that, Maz.
It's okay.
He's got friends at Al Davis's son is a good friend of his, and he likes him very much. Now, the interim coach is doing very well with the Raiders, so maybe they keep him. The Chargers got a hell of a team and no coach, so that would be another place that might pitch for Jim. I've been hearing the Chicago Bears. I don't quite buy it because I don't think Kevin Warren and Jim are going to be all that close either. And Kevin Warren, of course, is now higher up with the Bears.
Yeah.
So I see. I discount that one somewhat. So those are the possibilities. He will definitely, if he wants to go to the NFL, there'll be opportunities to do so. I'm sure of that. I don't know if he will. I think he wants to stay. I think he wants the bear hug. He wants to feel wanted, basically.
Yeah.
And I would think $55 million, as offered by Warren Manuel, would go a long way. But of course, it's not a secret that he and Ward are not close. Okay, fair enough. It's got to be said in Ward's defense that if he's just trying to get rid of Harbaugh, that the chance to do it was when Harbaugh was 2-4 after the 2020 season. I don't know how many people would object to that change at that time. So it's not fair to put it all on Ward, but the fact that those two are not close is not going to be a help. Jim Harbaugh and Santaono, the president, are pretty close, and he's giving him the bear hug. So right now, I got to go with the who knows. How's that for lame? I don't know.
Why don't people get along with this guy?
Well, look, I mean, Don Canham can tell you some stories about Bo Schembechler. Whenever you got a high-powered coach like that, hell, Stan Edwards can tell you some stories about Bo Schembechler, and I love Bo. I'm not exactly. I'm not about to throw a bone to the bus here. Oh yeah, but he's a tough guy and all that. And, anytime you got to talk to Greg Byrne at Alabama or the guy at Clemson and so on, you got a top coach. Chances are you have a stubborn personality and all that, and Jim's got that. They're all kind of tricky to manage to some degree. The flip side is, as Dave Brandon himself said years ago, and I didn't always agree with everything he said, of course, but I agree with this. If all your eggs are in one basket, you better watch that basket very carefully. And right now, there's one program at Michigan making money, and it's Michigan football.
Yep.
So that I would do what I can to swallow my pride and get the thing signed. Would be my approach there, and maybe it's going to be Ward's. I don't know. So I don't think Jim is particularly difficult. I just think that any high-powered coach in a top 10 program, is going to have his concerns and his demand. how it goes.
Just another observation, John, from my time in Indianapolis, and I haven't covered the team in years like I did in the Big Ten championship game. And one of the things that I noticed was you talk about how Jim wants to stay. How much fun he actually has with these players. The Sunday afternoon, the Sunday morning after at the hotel with the players and their families. He just looks like a guy that does not want to leave. I don't think he's leaving. And I don't think that Jim Harbaugh does so much for money. I don't know if $20 million from the Chargers changes his opinion if he feels loved, like you say. Do you?
Well, I think you're spot on. And again, you're behind the scenes there, and I'm not. I was not in Indy. Shame on me. But I don't know if Jim has ever had more fun coaching than he is right now. And the reason is the guys in that locker room, the guys you're seeing out there, Mike Sainristil and Blake Corum, and the list goes on, are just first-class guys. And they're doing it all right. They got a perfect 1,000 on the academic progress report, which I'm still waiting for anybody in the national media to care about that. And, he's feeling very good about it, and he's having fun doing it. He also has, by the way, a fantastic staff. And when people ask me, well, is it the sign gate and so on, man, 3 years ago, that guy flipped 6 of his 10 assistant coaches. And he went with younger guys, less proven perhaps than, the old guard that had done, by and large, a very good job, except for Ohio State. But who'd you get? You get Ron Bellamy. You get Mike Hart. You get some really great young coaches who connect very well with the players. And Jim is also having a great time with his coaching staff. And Sherrone Moore, the job he's done, speaks for itself. So there's a lot that keeps Jim happy, and he's definitely getting all the love you can in Schembechler Hall. There's no question about that.
John, Merry Christmas, Happy New Year, man. Can't
Yes,
thank
sir.
you enough for your time here with us all year. You always answer the call. We certainly appreciate you.